Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode, Chasing Collectibles Catchup. I'm Tyler, and we have a returning guest with us today, my friend Lizzie Sheppard, and
Oh,
she is here for a couple of different reasons. And one of those being is that she did the art for Nerdfest, which is exciting.
yes, I did. It was really fun. I kind of was iffy about doing it at first because I'm not really a graphic designer, or at least not in like my definition of a graphic designer is different from most graphic designers. Uh, but we made it work.
Yeah, it turned out nice.
Yeah,
I like it.
yeah. I liked it. I like it a lot too. So I'm glad.
I recommended you to Tim. I was like, Tim, I don't recommend bad people. She's awesome, you know.
Thank
So. Of course. And you're going to be set up at Nerdfest, right?
Yes.
So
Um,
you've been on here before. We got to see some of your pretty pretty cool art
mhm.
last time. That was I think 2022 or 2023. I can't
It
remember.
was a
I don't
while
know.
back.
It was a
Yeah.
while ago. I think the Batman had just come out recently because one of your
Hmm.
pieces was of the woman who was murdered by Zaz, and I remember Lauren being very aghast when you saw because her eyes were open and all
Hmm.
that. Um, so you've been doing some art stuff since then. I know you've got your project that you've been wanting to do for a while, and you've been making some good progress on that.
Yeah, I worked hard last year because I'm not really all about like New Year's resolutions, but I really wanted to actually like sit down and just write my comic because I always just draw it and I'm like, that's not really writing it. Or I usually
Right.
just think about it and I'm like, yes. And it's like, well, I have to write it now. It's
I
like, oh,
understand the
yeah.
feeling for sure. Yeah.
So last year, my New Year's resolution was to just work on it as much as I can throughout the whole year. And I ended up finishing, well, it's not finished, but I do have like a draft of a like prototype comic I want to make, um, and print out myself and just kind of go from there, just kind of see what happens.
Yeah. And is your goal is will that be available for was it South Carolina HorrorCon, or is that even sooner you plan to have that?
I was originally going to try to have it be done by the Nerd Fest convention, but that's kind of coming up too soon. So I'm trying to push it to the South Carolina Horror Con coming this fall. And I am kind of nervous about not getting it done on time because I'm still having some friends look over the script. And it's also going to be a lot of drawing from my part. So
Right.
I'm just hoping uh, that I have time to actually do it because I got like other commissions and the
Yeah.
world's on fire. So it's like,
Yeah.
so a little stressed, not gonna lie.
Yeah. Well, I like the script. I've read it,
Thank you.
and I know today we're gonna do something a little different. In addition to chatting, you're gonna be actually doing some art today
Yes,
with us.
yes. I'll be drawing one of my characters for the comic I'm doing. So hopefully that will look cool across the
Cool.
screen.
Yeah.
Do do I switch it?
Sure. Yeah. Whenever you're ready.
All right, so I usually work in Procreate because it's only like $10 and
Hmm.
it's great. It's not Adobe, so that's nice.
Now,
So
what's
I'm
a layer?
gonna
Explain everything to me.
ogres have layers. Honestly, that's all it is drawing. It's just all layers.
Yes,
Um, so the way I draw is like super messy, so don't come at me.
I'm ready
That's
to come at you.
that's kind of my style, I guess. It's really like messy and scratchy, or I try to clean it up with line art, but I'm not as good as with line art as I think I am. Okay, let's see. I guess I'll just start drawing.
Everything starts with a circle.
Yes.
maybe. I don't know.
Well, I don't know. I kind of just draw a bunch of lines and then just kind of comes together.
Do you know the SpongeBob thing? The episode where he's like doing the art and he's like, first you
Yeah.
start with this, then you erase the lines and you get a circle.
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of do that, but I don't know. Sometimes I'll do it, like I'll probably do it
Yeah.
right now. But
I
I just kind of
I've
draw like, oh, sorry, go ahead.
no, you go.
I just kind of draw what's in my head. Um, but yeah, I'll draw what my main character, Micah, looks like.
And I know about Micah. I think he's pretty cool. I like his design. Can you tell the folks a little bit about him?
So Micah is an old character of mine that just kind of stuck when I was a kid. And this is actually a story I've been working on since I was a kid. And obviously it's changed over
Hmm.
time. But basically he's uh, a super soldier that was put in a program that his mother is actually in charge of to test out this serum that basically gives you powers. Um, it's more complicated than the way I explain it, but hold on, this looks bad. Let's start over. I'm getting nervous.
That's always a hard part with anything like because I mean we've talked about our respective characters and plots before, and such a hard thing to just be like, okay, here's this thing I've thought about my whole life, and let me
Yeah,
summarize like a sentence.
yeah, like it's I honestly don't know like how to really like I'm awful at describing or marketing my own work when it like I kind of just let my work do the talking. I don't really like talk about it.
Yeah.
But essentially Micah has a cool I guess like character kind of a flaw within how his powers work. So his thing is that he can like absorb like energy or like uh basically any like resources from life. And he's doing it because he has a um basically some radioactivity has what's the word I'm looking for? Basically gave him like some scarring, and the drug that his mother gave him is also radioactive, so it kind of backfired on him, and he develops this skeletal uh, like face because it's like killing him essentially. And so most of the time that he's been in the facility that his mother works in, he's been locked up and slowly is being killed off because she sees him as like a failed experiment. Like, oh, he's a failure, and I don't know what to do with him anymore. And yeah,
I've had that same conversation with my mother before. Um,
yeah. Sorry,
I have
I'm
not. I have
I'm
not
really
met.
bad at describing what the heck my story's about because I honestly still don't know what it's about yet, even though I've been working on it for like years. Um, I'm just kind of making it up as I go.
Yeah.
That's what we all do.
Yeah. I mean, um, and it's cool thinking about like over time how the concept changes. I know for you, we come from similar boats with our stories. Although I'm more of a writer, and you're both a writer and artist.
Hmm.
How like you have this idea when you're younger, and then like as you develop it, it changes as you
Yeah.
get older, and
Well, it's funny because when I first created Micah, he literally was just some guy like I was like, I want to tell a story, and I just drew some dude, and I'm like, all right, he's the main character, and I named
Right.
him Mike, and I wanted nothing to do with him.
Yeah.
I was just like, yeah, he's the main guy, but I want to draw the other cool characters I came up with instead. And it wasn't until like high school I was like, I should probably do something with that character because he was kind of like the original like OG guy. And then his name changed to Micah, and then uh, never since I kind of fell in love with the idea of him all over again. And I'm trying to struggle to draw some teeth because his teeth are exposed. He kind of has a weird like his lower the lower half of his face is exposed, and so when he like absorbs energy or life, he can like return to what he like normally looks like. So it's kind of like a weird cause and effect thing with his powers.
Right.
Um,
I think
but
that's a cool bit about his character too, is like he's got the whole like, at times he can look kind of normal-ish because he's what, 19, 20-ish,
yeah, he's
right?
like 19 around in the story. Yeah, I mean 20, not 19. Sorry,
So he can look, normal, and then at times he can also have
because this
this,
is what he really looks like
right?
because of what his mother has done to him. But
Yeah.
with his abilities, he can like return to how he originally looks. He honestly does it because it keeps him from dying because he's like
Right.
in a constant state of breaking down. So that he's like constantly having to like um find some kind of resource or energy, even like uh bioconsumption is the word for it, kind of like in Prototype where Alex Mercer like just eats people
Right.
and it like he like gains like HP. I don't know. But yeah, and he's nicknamed Sensen Man, which is German for the Grim Reaper, and that's what the story is
I
called.
think it's such a cool title. I like it.
Thank you. And and because he can like consume things in that way, that's like another reason why he got his nickname as like being deaf or
Now,
like a symbol of death.
now I'm a history guy, and
Hmm.
I know that this is a set in historic context. It's kind of in the context of like end of the Cold War, right?
Yes.
1989 ish.
Hmm.
So I think that's
Yes.
really cool. What's it been like? Is like, my when I write sci-fi, and like with sci-fi, you can pretty much like, you know, make whatever you want, but then you had to
Hmm.
do a lot of research into yours with the time period, which is pretty cool.
It's really fun. I originally it was gonna like obviously when I was a kid, it was like in modern day because I wasn't like as into like historical settings as I was. And then in high school, that's when I was like, I kind of want it to take place in the 80s. And so literally all I did in high school was just like immerse myself into like 80s like culture or like pop culture. Like I watched 80s movies, listened to 80s music, documentaries, read books about like just the time period in general. And it was going to be set in like the United States, you know, New York City. But I'm like, that's like every superhero character
Right.
location. New York City. I'm like, that's boring. So I thought, oh, why not make it take place during like the end of the Cold War, like right after the fall of the Berlin Wall, like the dissolution of the USSR. I thought that'd be more interesting.
Yeah. No, I think that's been a really neat thing getting to like readers and knowing like the context of it being in that time period.
Yeah.
Um, And I know you've said before when we've talked that it's like it's been interesting doing like really deep dives into things. So like you just like in order to make your story legitimate, you got to like like with like the drug and all that, you have to look into like certain plants and all that.
Hmm.
So
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
it it honestly was pretty uh researching is honestly your best friend because sometimes stuff is just there for you that you can put it into your story like, oh, well, there you go. And basically how this uh drug that Micah was given, it's called R1. Uh don't ask me why, because I still don't know why I named it that. But essentially it came from uh crossbreeding plants and basically they become mutations because in the 50s they did this thing called atomic gardening where they would expose plants to like radioactive cobalt, I think, and it would like mutate plants. And they'd use that for like agricultural like reasons like, oh well, this plant has like two stems, can it still like grow food or whatever? And so that's kind of where I got the eureka moment of like, oh, that's
Yeah.
interesting. And so basically, uh, this drug is comes from a weird mutated plant,
Hmm.
and it's got like I also drew down like what it looks like if it was under a microscope, and it kind of looks like as a plant cell, it like looks like a flower, but
Right.
and it uses it like the way Micah can absorb things, the plant can absorb uh other things as well, like as a host,
Hmm.
like a host cell. Yeah, no, I have to try to do biology while doing this with
Yeah.
fun. So, I mean, obviously, I still don't know how it works, but
No, it's
the
cool because
story.
like when you're writing something that's fiction, I mean, obviously it's just like you could just be like, well, it's not real, suspend your disbelief. Like there is part of that, but I think there is also a fun element to like, well, how can I explain a little bit how this works and make it legit rather than just be like, well, it's the thing, you know?
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the fun thing when it comes to sci-fi is that you really can just do whatever you want as long as it sounds good. And that's
Right.
where I'm trying to get at right now. I'm like, oh, that sounds like it makes sense
Yeah.
in
Well, we've
this universe.
we've mentioned I think I mentioned this before when we talked that like like I've read comics where like you can they're in a lab and there's some
Hmm.
scientist character that's going like, well, we have to do the blah 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 so that blah happens. And I'm just reading, I'm like, okay. And so I'm like, cool. Um so
You just
I don't
don't
know,
ask questions.
I'm not a critical thinker, no. Well, I mean, I don't think anyone's like dwelling on some of that stuff, but you still have to make it sound convincing, you know.
Yeah. And like it's honestly been kind of fun just like researching like the science part behind the story
Yeah.
because I try to find like or I just honestly try to look up stuff that I think would work. Like right now in the script, I'm trying to like show a scene on like how they extract the serum from the plant that they crossbreeded
Hmm.
and how they use that as like, you know, their super duper power serum. And I found a thing, I'm trying to look it up on my phone right now because I wrote it down, but it's a thing where you like take the water out of the plant by like this machine. And I wrote it down. I forget what it's called, but I came across that and I'm like, that sounds legit.
Hmm. That's
That
pretty
sounds
cool.
like it could work. This
Yeah.
is really bad drawing.
Not at all.
I don't like it. Mm.
So one thing I want to talk about too was how do you deal with times where like you find it either difficult to write your script or difficult to draw? Like what do you do to find like inspiration at times?
Um, it is hard because I haven't been like diagnosed with um maladaptive daydreaming, but I definitely think I do have it. But it's like when you, instead of like doing the thing, you just sit there and think about it.
Right.
And that's like enough for you. And
Yeah.
I have to really kind of like snap myself back to reality, like, okay, if you want it to be a thing, you have to actually sit down and do it.
A
And it,
horrifying thought.
yeah, yeah, right. Um, I honestly, music helps me a lot, especially when it's in a specific time period that the story is in like the 80s. It's fun to listen to find like songs from the 80s that I think would fit. I have like a whole playlist that I do cherish, a mixture of like 80s songs and today's songs that I think would fit uh like the overall aesthetic of how I envision Sense and Man to be. It's obviously got that grunge or early grunge vibe going on.
Do you have any favorite 80s singers?
Um, I do. The Smiths are honestly pretty damn good. And I know the Smiths are kind of like cliche. It's like, oh yeah, Smiths, of course. But honestly, like I've like just now been listening to their stuff, and like if Sense and Man was a movie, I'm like, even if the movie's terrible, I just want to be in charge of the soundtrack. That's all I care about.
Right.
Like the music's got to be good. At least the music's
Yeah.
got. But my favorite, one of my favorite songs from the Smiths that I've came across is "What Difference Does It Make?"
Oh yeah,
That's
yeah.
that song's a jam. I love it. But yeah, I really love like music helps me like immerse myself more into just like getting into the zone when it comes to writing or drawing.
Yeah.
And I don't know, just it's helpful for visual people.
Yeah. No, I definitely think it can help get you in the mood for sure.
Hmm.
Uh, what about horror do you like? Because I know you've been a big um not just this, but I feel like your style lends itself really well to horror. So why
Yeah,
do you think you've always kind of I remember seeing some of your portfolio from college too, back in the day,
yes.
very horror-esque.
Yeah, it honestly it just kind of happened. Like I didn't I mean I've always loved horror, but I think it wasn't until college where I was like, wait, I can actually like do something with this. And Sense and Men definitely has horror elements that will be in it. I mean, look at Micah right now.
He's
He's a
completely
literal
normal.
skeletal face. But yeah, horror's just become like a niche of mine, and I really want to like dive more into it. And so I've been sometimes I'll do um like traditional ink of just like horror illustrations of just whatever I can uh, come up with. And it's really fun. I like stuff that freaks me out sometimes.
Right.
Boom. And look, fix his teeth. His teeth look weird.
Do you actually have trying to think of a good way to frame this. I mainly watch horror movies because my wife is really into horror movies. I
Hmm.
I, I do find myself getting scared in horror movies. Um, do you get that way, or are you just like most of them? You're just like, it's fine.
I I mean I do get like disturbed by some horror movies, but I watch so much of them. I don't know. I guess I get more excited about it than like actually scared. I honestly
Right.
can't think of the last time a horror movie actually like made me go like scream or I mean like
Mm.
yeah, there's like a jump scare, but like that's not like that
The
doesn't
the jump
make up
scare
the whole
happens,
movie.
you're just crossing your arms like lowbrow.
Yeah, I mean sometimes it works, which that's why I hate them because it works.
They
Because
are pretty
it's
low
just the
hanging
big
fruit.
sound. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I guess I just love like horror as like an artistic expression. because it really is like I feel like there's like a lot of truth behind it.
Mm. Yeah,
If that makes sense.
yeah. We had someone on a couple weeks ago. His name's Ron Rossman, and he's indie film. He does independent films, and he's movies coming out soon that he directed. It's a horror
Oh,
movie, and he talked about how like he felt that horror movies are kind of like almost in that same line of like that oral history of like people like telling scary stories around the fire and like throughout history, oral
yeah.
stories have been passed down. So he said that. I was like, oh, I hadn't really thought about it that way. That's kind of a neat way to put it, you know.
hmm I'm actually trying to work on making comics like for my website, like online. I want to do like just a string of like short horror comics, and I'm working on one now, and I hope that I can like keep up with it because I would honestly love to just be like a horror illustrator,
Yeah.
like that in the works of like Junji Ito and um, Edward Gorey is one of my other favorite horror illustrators. His stuff's more like on the cutesy side, but like his cross hatching work and like just overall ink work is like really good. But yeah, I would love to just do that. I'm
Do you remember a
trying to
good
focus.
horror movie you've seen recently? Like I know Nosferatu came out recently.
Yes,
Did you enjoy that?
I did see Nosferatu and I loved it. I mean, I have some issues with it, but overall it was fun.
Yeah.
Just overall fun. Mm,
It was definitely one of those like there's not a ton of parts. It's more. I mean the guy who directs it. Drawing a blank on his name right now.
Robert Eggers.
Yes, Robert Eggers. I mean, he's done The Lighthouse. He's done The Vivitch, the
Yes.
and those are all like it's more so those are more like kind of like the disturbing horror rather
hmm
than like oh there's a scary monster type thing. And
Right.
which I've like as I've watched more. I mean, the amount of horror movies I've watched has like increased. In the past, I've been dating my wife when dating, together with her since
Right.
2014. I avoided them like the plague before 2014, and now I've seen so many that I have come to appreciate them, I think. And
hmm
I think I enjoyed Nosferatu. It was good.
There's just a bunch of like horror movies I've come across um on the internet that are like on my list of like to watch. And there's just
Right.
so many interesting horror movies out there, especially ones from like all over the world. I really love that. That makes it
Mm.
like more fun because it's like, what do they find scary over there?
Yeah, that's true. See like the cultural differences.
Yeah, it's really neat. One movie I'm thinking of that came out on Netflix. I want to say it was a either a Taiwan film or a Thailand film. I'm probably pronouncing the words wrong, but it was called Incantation. That
Mm.
was pretty good. It was like about like a mom. She's trying to like uh get back with her kid, and there's like something going wrong with the kid, and it's like a demon or something that's like
Mm.
possessing her. But the way they like executed it was really interesting. Uh,
Yeah, I think it's cool to see like what you know, throughout different cultures, what stuff is still like what's the crossover, what's, still considered like scary and say in our culture versus in another culture that's still those tropes that
hmm
are pretty common.
right. Yeah, it's fun. Yeah, I'm gonna just finish up
Speaking of
this.
movies, did you hear the news? In Brooks was devastated about this. Yeah, Brooks was on last week
What?
about the Batman being delayed to 2027. The Batman
2027?
2. Batman
Oh
2,
wow.
yes.
So is Matt Reeves still directing it or no?
He
Because
is.
Okay, because I saw somewhere that James Gunn was going to do it, and I was like, "Oh,
No, well, so he's doing the I think the thing that's kind of up for, what are people thinking about is that you've got when James Gunn announced his plans for this new DC universe, he said there was also going to be like a Batman and Robin movie. Well, we've also
yeah,
got the Batman movie. And so it's like people are wondering like is he going to have two separate Batmen, or is he going to try
yeah,
to basically shelve this other Batman project and make the Robert Pattinson Batman the Batman for the universe?
yeah." I'm honestly like, as much as I like DC, it's interesting to like see how they tried really hard to be like Marvel,
Hmm.
but then they fumbled really bad that they're like starting all over again.
Yeah,
And it's only been like a decade. It's
yeah,
kind of interesting. Um, but yeah, I'm not sure like where they're gonna go, like because they've had so many issues, like with DC movies just in general having issues, like with whether it's like behind the scenes or just the movies not being great in general. I'm just
right.
I'm very curious of how James Gunn is supposed to come in and like
Fix
save the
everything.
day. Like I got it. It's like okay, I'm curious.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I mean, I know I think a lot's riding the Superman movie comes out this summer. I think a lot's riding on how that movie does.
It does
Um,
look fun. I mean, I don't really
yeah,
care for Superman, but it definitely looks
looks
like a Superman
colorful.
movie. Yeah, and
Yes.
the little dog, Crypto.
I think the crypto is going to bring a lot of people to the movies because there's so
He's
many
so
people that like I don't
cute.
know anything about that, but I want to see the dog.
I remember watching the cartoon show when I was little. I
I do
remember
remember.
the theme song,
Yes,
the
crypto the
Super
super
Dog.
dog.
Hmm.
Yes,
So
cinema.
that was pretty cool. I'm like, oh, they
Yeah.
got the dog.
Yes, 5 stars on Letterboxd for
Yeah,
crypto the
got the
super
dog.
dog. Um, I, I would love to see in the Batman 2 once it eventually comes out. I think could be some cool villains. They have mentioned, I believe, I need to double check either um maybe I should just look it up. What's his face? Either a Clayface movie or TV show is going to come
Ooh,
out.
that's cool. Clayface would be horrifying. I want them to like really go nuts with like how they can make clay faces like shape shifting and distortion. Like
Right.
they could go crazy with that.
You
That'd
get
be so
bonkers with it.
cool.
Yeah.
I really want Mr. Freeze. I miss him.
Could be cool. And I know
We
like
haven't
some
had.
people,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no, I think some people have been speculating that he could be the villain.
We haven't had freaking like Mr. Freeze in anything since the 90s. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
he showed up in the Arkham games and he was cool in those. But
I love him.
we need a we need a true Mr. Freeze.
Just like not only like I guess like more in films, like just there hasn't been like it's always been like the Joker
Yeah.
as like the main antagonist. I'm like, man, I want like show the other guys. Like, where's
Yeah, that's
Poison
the
Ivy
thing.
at?
And you see this in like the comics too, is they do so many Joker stories because they know it sells. But I
Yeah,
get so tired of it at times. Like they're like, "Oh, here's the Joker doing all this stuff, and don't worry, he is." I just get. I like the Joker, but it makes me not like him. You know,
yeah. I mean, yeah, I like him too. He's fascinating, but he's so. I mean, it's
it's
very
everywhere.
obvious. He's just very like all over the place. Like he's the Batman villain, which yeah, of course, that's like they're like made for each other. But
Yeah,
there's also even more messed up villains in Batman that aren't like talked about, like Zaz, for
yeah.
example,
Zaz is a cool one. Yeah.
or the I want to say his name's Dr. Pig, but I don't think that's
Oh,
right. But
Doctor.
he's like
Yeah,
a
he's creepy. Yeah.
yeah. It's like there's so many like crazy villains they can do.
Mad Hatter's another really weird one.
Yeah,
Trying to hypnotize people to recreate Alice in Wonderland. You're like, what the heck? You're like,
Oh, and of course Scarecrow, but they've done Scarecrow a couple times.
yeah, I've done, but he can be cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just it's frustrating that like the go to is always like the Joker. Like, okay,
Mm-hmm. It's like the
yeah,
dude's just a clown. Mr. Freeze freezes people
yeah,
because he
yeah,
loves his wife.
he does. He's
And
a good hunter.
honestly, that's okay.
Yeah, if only we could all be in a relationship like that. Um, yeah, it would be cool to see some other villains. I mean, I know they kind of teased the Joker in the first Batman movie, and I'm sure at some point
I
we'll have
did not like
Joker.
that.
You didn't care for him, the
Nope.
face.
Nope. I saw the smile and I was like, Joker. Again.
Oh, you
Like, of
wait, did you
course,
not care for the fact that he appeared, or is it the look, or both?
both. Like, I don't know. Like, I would have been fine if it was just the Riddler, because that's
Yeah.
what it was, just the Riddler. And I
Well,
don't
he
know,
only
it
showed
just
up for
felt,
like 2 minutes.
I know, but it just felt so like, oh, hey guys, it's the Joker.
Yeah.
Let's show our version of the Joker because the Joker's like the only Batman villain, apparently, Batman. And it just gets old. And I don't know. I'm not ready for it. I need something else.
Well, to be fair, if we ever get if the Joker does appear at some point in like a full form in that those series, I imagine it won't be till the third one, and at this rate, we won't get the third one for a
Hmm.
while. So
Yeah.
maybe by that point, you'll be ready for a Joker.
And I guess that's why I didn't like his little cameo because it kind of hinted like, oh, the Joker's going to be the next villain. It's like, we've seen that though. Like, how many more
No,
times can we see the Joker
no.
and Batman? I mean, obviously, people aren't going to ever get tired of that. I mean, I won't either, but it's just,
There's other stuff out there.
yeah, like, there's so many more villains.
Yeah. So we'll see. I don't know. I love the Batman. The first one was awesome. So
It was so good. I
and
loved it a lot.
we saw it in IMAX together, and that was an experience.
I
You
saw
know,
it by myself, but it was fun. I had a good time.
that's good.
And that was like the first like Batman movie that made me cry.
Hmm. Do
And
you remember
it's
what
just,
moment?
sorry, what?
Do you remember when?
Do I ever win?
No, like, do you remember when you?
Yeah, yes. It's just that one part at the end where like the people are on top of the buildings because the flood
Uh,
happens,
yes, yes,
and he carries that girl to the helicopter, and he's like, "All
yeah,
right, I'm about to leave," and she's like, "No, don't leave yet," and like holds his hand. I was like that's my
yeah,
Batman right there.
yeah.
That was perfect. I love that so much.
No, you're right about that. That was a good scene,
It was so
and
good.
really did a good job showing like what Batman can be.
Like literally, like I know people like make fun of the Batman as being like edgy and like, oh, he's weird and blah blah blah. I'm like, the thing is, he is weird.
Yeah, it's a weird guy.
Bruce Wayne is weird. Okay, like I get the whole, but his Playboy persona, exactly, persona. That's not
Yeah.
Bruce Wayne. I will
If
fight on
anything,
this.
Batman is more Bruce Wayne than Bruce Wayne.
Bruce Wayne's a freak, and that movie embraced that, and that's why I love it.
There's a scene that Brooks and I find hilarious where it's when Alfred, was in the hospital and he's like waking up and the first thing that Bruce says to him is like, you lied to me. And we're like, we almost
Alfred's
died.
like, bro, I just woke up.
Yeah,
Master Wayne, what are you talking about?
yeah,
I was in a coma for a week.
yeah.
It's so
It's a great.
funny. I love that.
No, they do a good job showing how much of a weirdo he is. And they made
It's great.
Edward Digma was such a weirdo in that movie too.
Oh,
Everyone was just
Paul
weird.
Dano was excellent. When I heard that he was going to be cast as Riddler, I was like, this is better than sliced bread. What perfect casting.
Yeah,
Because, like,
we
just look at him. It's
it
perfect.
was amazing though. He never got like because like Paul Dano in so many movies he's been in, he gets beat like punched in the face and like slapped
Right.
around. I'm just like I remember watching the movie, like, oh, it's coming. Like he's gonna eventually just beat the heck out of him, and never
Yeah.
happened. He never got that chance. I was like, ah, all right, you got away,
I, gu-
Paul.
I guess because since this is like year one Batman, he wasn't
Yeah,
as like brutal as he can be yet. He's like, oh, I don't know if I can beat up, even though
yeah.
I beat up other people.
I
I
always
need this
joke
guy.
that in the next movie he's gonna get his traditional green suit. He's gonna
Yeah.
he's gonna drop the whole uh
Question
Unabomber
mark
look,
suit.
question mark, yeah, and go to the whole get the cane. You know,
Yeah. Just Jim Carrey it.
yes, just taking a totally different direction. Go back to norms. And, well, I've got a green suit because I cosplay the Riddler sometimes, but I'm
Oh,
like that
cool.
cosplay of the Batman version. This is like you got to be careful. Like I could not wear that. I teach. I could not wear that one to school. They'd be like, "What's going on here?"
Oh yeah. Yeah, especially with the way they portrayed like Riddler is very much like 4chan Redditor.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
He looks awesome.
oh, he does. Yeah. Oh wait, you're talking about Riddler or
I'm talking. Well, Riddler did look awesome, but I'm looking.
yes.
I'm referring to Micah right now.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, it looks a lot better.
Yes. You
And if
done
people
good.
do have questions about how does he talk if he looks like this, don't know.
Hmm.
Just looks cool. I mean, I make fun of it all the time. Like I always want to put a joke where like where he looks like this and someone's like, "So, you brush your teeth like that?" Or I thought about just drawing him with brushing his teeth looking like this.
You kiss your mother
Or
with
how,
that man.
or how he can breathe, his nose is just open.
Right.
I could smell everything. But
Um,
eventually,
what do you?
hopefully, I'll explain other than that it looks cool.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's all you need. Like it just looks cool.
Yes. He needs CeraVe for the
Yes.
skin.
He does wear like a he does have like a mask that he wears that's actually a respirator.
Hmm.
Most of the time where he's in the facility to like help keep him like alive. So he does wear kind of like a the Winter Soldier, like that mask thing over
Yeah,
his
yeah,
nose.
yeah.
It kind of looks like that, but that helps him like with breathing um and all that stuff. But he doesn't wear it all the time, of course. Um, but sometimes I think like from what I'm envisioning, he does uh like try to cover up, like he'll wear like maybe a bandana over his face, just to kind of obviously hide what he looks like until he
Yeah.
gets better with his powers. But yeah.
I like it a lot. And where can, as we're getting, close here,
Hmm.
what are some ways that people can kind of keep up with, your progress with it? I know you'll be at Nerdfest and then you'll
I
be at the HorrorCon, but how can people keep up with what you're up to?
I did get Instagram back again because I did have it at first, but then the whole AI thing, I was like, no, that's dumb. Then I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna let AI scare me away. So I got it again. So y'all can follow me on there. I mostly post uh my stories and what I'm working on there. I also have a Blue Sky and a Kara account, and it's pretty much all under the same name. I'll write it right here actually. It's usually ERS draws with an underscore, mostly
Nice.
for Instagram. Blue Sky it doesn't have an underscore, but it's the same thing, and my profile picture is the same, so hopefully you'll find me.
Nice.
It
This has
doesn't
been,
look too
yeah, look at
bad.
that. That's awesome.
Yay.
You
Now to
done
do
good.
the ultimate test that every artist fears. Ugh, don't look at that. I need to get better with that.
But you did a phenomenal job.
Thank you.
It's fun seeing the process, seeing it, and it all started with just some lines.
Yep, it's all just a bunch of lines, and
Yes,
hopefully it's a nice drawing. I think it looks okay, but I don't know. It could
I
be
think
better.
I think it's a pretty good. I I like it. I say it's a 10 out of 10.
Thank you.
What do you I know this is still like a couple months away, but I know like this is the next time people can see you, locally.
hmm
What do you plan? Do you have any plans for Nerd Fest in terms of like what you might be bringing?
I am working on a big xenomorph commission for a friend of mine,
Ooh,
and I was thinking of doing prints of that because that'd be
nice.
a good like just a fun horror print. And I'm kind of low-key obsessed with the Alien franchise right now. It's very interesting, and I'm playing Alien Isolation as well, and that game's scary. It's hard. The xenomorph is just gorgeous design. I think it's because I love that it's literally just from some artist. They're like, that looks cool. Let's hire him to make an alien. And it's like, man, back in the old days where they used artists in
Yeah,
Hollywood,
I know.
missed that.
Long time.
hmm
Well,
But
cool. We should
yeah, probably do that, and hopefully I'll do other merch stuff. I'm not sure what of yet, but hopefully I'll get to it
keep
in
people guessing,
time. Yeah.
make them hyped.
hmm
Hey, you did an awesome job with this, and it was very cool again to watch the process here.
Thank you.
Yes.
It's
You have
fun.
to you have to share this for your fans.
I might
This is a good one.
I might post it, do a little shout out to y'all as well. Thank you for
Hey,
having me again.
yes. Well, you got, I was telling the other guy, Ron, we talked to, I was his second appearance. This is your second. Once you get three more, you'll get an official jacket. And
Oh, really?
no, uh,
Oh. Oh, well, all
uh,
right then. I'll just go.
maybe we are very plentiful here at Chasing Collectibles Catchup. So very, very frugal. Um, but no, this was awesome. Um,
Yeah, this was fun. I definitely
yeah.
feel it was better to talk when drawing because sometimes I kind of choke up when I'm like,
No,
explain how you draw. I'm like, I kind of can't. I can just show
no,
you.
we just kind of vibed, and I think it turned out pretty swell. I like it. Lots of good detail. The
Thank you.
the skull is also very unique. It's the lower half,
Thank
and
you.
we'll send him some CeraVe, and
Some
hopefully he
lotion.
finds yes, hopefully he finds someone to get to steal some energy from. I'm excited. I've just real quick before we finish, I've been
hmm
reading your script here and there, and you've been supporting me with mine. Um, I say this not as this like friend, but I think it's a cool concept, and I'm very much looking forward to the the prototype coming out this year, and
Well, thank
supporting you
you
in any
so
way
much.
that I can and we can.
Thank you. That really means a lot. And same to you as well. It's really nice having like writer friends because growing up it was just kind of all me, you
Yeah.
know. I mean, obviously I had friends and I'd show it to them, but I guess like I didn't take it as seriously as like, oh, like I want to actually like tell the story. Like I feel like I have to
Yeah.
just to get it out of
Or-
my system.
Yeah, exactly. And it does have to have people to kind of bounce ideas off of, and
Yeah, it's super helpful.
yeah. Well, thank you again for joining us. This
Yeah,
was really cool, and I'll be sure to link all of your stuff so people can check it out. And we're looking forward to also having you at Nerdfest.
thank you for having me. It was a little
Yep.
micro drawing.
Hey, why didn't you just do
Just
that?
be just did. I mean, I could have. I thought about it. I'm like, just
people
draw him
people know
doing
like
this.
if you just did that, like taking 40 minutes to do that. We're like,
Looks good. Yes.
very nice.
Yes. All right.
Hey, alrighty. Well, thank you guys for watching, and we'll shall see you next time. And keep chasing. Bye.
Bye.
Yay! Come